So these are single leg jumps, and we're looking at vertical and horizontal. Different purposes. Depending on your sport, you might use some more than others. Maybe if you're going for as you're running and you're moving into like a bound and then into a jump off one leg. Or maybe you're more of I'm gonna land and I plant. Basically, we're just looking to see, can you absorb shock like a spring that you can then realize that energy of that stored sort of elastic potential in that spring, like a coil, and then can you propel yourself? So the later stage is the propulsion phase. First, you have to be able to shock absorb. If you can shock absorb, how stable are you? And then how stable is your foundation to then create the power from? So this is kind of the first step, the shock absorption phase and the stability. So you just choose one leg. You could be right leg onto right leg. You could be right leg onto left leg. You could do right leg and do a few hops in a row. For starters, we just focus on not so much distance in the horizontal, but can you just generate that? And then can you catch yourself? So 2 feet, falling, catch yourself. And some cues you might think about are, can I be more quiet as I land? So I'm here, a little more quiet. If you feel like maybe you're falling over a lot, check where your eyes are. If you look forward or around you, that's going to cue some muscles to reflexively stabilize you a bit better. So maybe if I'm looking down, my awareness now is only what I can see here and also what I can feel, but your eyes do play a bit of a role here. So if I do this instead and I look up, I'm a lot more stable. You might find that you lose your balance if you look to the right, or you might find that it's when you go left. Can you deal with those differences? Maybe there's a ball on that side or a teammate over there and you're in the middle of a jump, or maybe there's an opponent coming and you're looking to have the option of I'm good that way, that way, that way, or looking straight ahead. The reason we start with a bit horizontal is because running is pretty much a bunch of horizontal jumps. So it's pretty much a bound and you catch yourself, and then a bound and you catch yourself. And are you stable enough to have your mass, your pelvis, centered over your foot? Or do you never quite get all the way over there? And you might find that that looks like a falling in. Or maybe you overshoot it and you fall over your foot. Doing more of them will help you realize your range, and then you'll be able to figure out where center is. From a side point of view, your balance becomes pretty much the length of your foot. So my pelvis now, my weight has to stay somewhere in the middle of my foot, in the middle of my triangle, my tripod, so that I can keep balance. If I go too far forward, now I'm into my toes. This could be your shin splint territory. If I'm too much on my heel, now my toes are flicking up. Another type of shin splint. You got kind of your outer and your inner. Or maybe you just have tight calves all the time. Maybe you're always landing on your toes. Not to say that landing on the toes is bad, but if that becomes your option for stability, how then do they transition well to then create your propulsion, your power? So if I land on my toes, they've stabilized me. Now I'm asking them to push me forward. It's a very challenging transition. But if I land nice and soft, my glutes, my hammies, my back, everything absorbs, and now I can push forward. So all you would do as a practicing side of it, you fall forward and catch yourself. If that starts to feel easy, you go single leg, catch yourself. Then you can go single leg again and catch yourself. You can do the multiple hops. So you can go 1, 2, 3. Maybe you see how far you can go. Vertical hops, same idea, but you're just going straight up. Can you coordinate your arms and your torso and your head with all of that? My head's staying forward, and I'm looking to see if I can keep my balance. And if that's pretty good, and see I keep falling this way, so I know that my pelvis is probably a little too far this way, or some other mass, maybe my rib cage, my head, something's dragging me that way. So I just check in. Yeah, feels a bit more like my pelvis. Zipper is nice and straight. and I come back into here, and pretty good. That feels easy. You start getting into single leg whoop, and I fell again, this time a little more my rib cage. So I'm gonna try and keep my rib cage centered, and then things get better. If I let it go to the left intentionally on this one, and then drags me over. So you're just looking for some consistency there. Don't worry so much about height, just worry about absorbing in this phase. To bring in a little more complexity, ooh, getting tired, you can go kind of hopscotchy. So say you're in a box with 4 boxes within that box. So I've got a box here, one top left, top right, back left. Single leg, hopping, holding. Now I could go that way, I could go behind me straight, or I could go diagonal that way. And you're just looking to maintain your balance. So give those a go. Go for a timer, maybe 30 seconds or so, and just focus on reps, focus on quality, landing, yep, got it. Progress the instability challenge of it. So you're starting on 2 feet to 1 foot, then you're starting on 1 foot to another foot, then you're starting on 1 foot to the same foot. And those will just add stability challenges. A couple times a week, and you'll start to find it gets a little bit easier.